I think you're a little bit bored of hearing that we need to eat good in order to feel good. But the reality is that when we change our diet and we really start focusing in what we eat, we really pay attention of the quantity and the quality of food that we eat, a lot of things start changing in our lives. So our mental health improves, our skin improves, our hair also changes, and the way we sleep and the way we actually smell and taste. So for me, it's very important to kind of remind everyone that I wanted, or like I remember, like back in the day when I used to be a very unhealthy person, or I was eating very healthy, but I just wasn't eating enough, which is also like a big problem. But what happened, as soon as I start changing this, I start changing not my relationship with food, but I start changing the relationship with myself. I start liking myself more because I was feeling better. I was seeing my skin better. I was seeing my hair finally growing and being shiny and all of these things. So sometimes we need to also remember that everything starts from inside out, right? Instead of thinking a lot of the superficial stuff, of maybe thinking a lot about makeup, about having to do our hair every single day in order to always look good, we can change things like our food, our diet, and that will instantly improve another aspects of our life. It takes a huge effort to really learn to stop overthinking, especially when we're going through like a very stressful situation in our life. Or maybe when we kind of step into this new relationship, but there are a lot of questions that we don't have the answer to. Learning to stop coming out with your own conclusions and learning a lot more about not worrying too much about what is coming in the future, or actually not worrying too much about what happened in the past, is probably one of the hardest things I've done. But then I realized that you can actually challenge your thoughts. Remember that your emotions will interfere with your ability to look at situations objectively. Take a step back and look at the evidence. What evidence do you have that your thought is true? Or what evidence do you have that your thought isn't true? Quitting stimulants was one of the biggest things that I also did for my health and for my mind. So especially if you're a female, if you're a woman, and you deal with periods with high levels of cortisol, because we as females tend to like instantly retain a little bit more fat than men. So what happens when you're constantly relying on stimulants in order to have energy, you don't understand your body. You don't understand your hunger levels. You don't really sleep like properly. You're not sleeping as deep as you're supposed to be sleeping. You're not resting as much because your body is in a constant work when you are run by stimulants. So one of the things that I'm actually really happy is the time that I heard from a traditional doctor that told me, get rid of every single stimulant of your life, and that also involves everything that is spicy, because it's also stimulant. So this thing, it was kind of my first step to start healing my body and my mind, because I finally started understanding more about myself. Self-love, and this is a tricky one. And I am happy at this moment of my life. I don't really have many issues connected with self-love. One of the main reasons is because I had a history of an eating disorder, again, like 6-7 years ago. And one of the things that I understood after reading a lot of books and after understanding more, where is this like issues coming from, I realized that self-love, it was something that I was lacking of. I was always being too harsh on myself. I was always telling myself like, how come that after so long you're still in this issue? Because an eating disorder, especially like the one I had, which it was mainly binge eating, it is an addiction. So for me, I always made this connection with like, addicts are just very weak people. So when I saw myself in this situation, I was like, wait, you weak, you this, you this. So I was constantly attacking myself. And then I started realizing that also my binge eating disorder kind of led me to hate my body, because I was gaining a lot of weight. I was unhappy with myself. I couldn't even have intimacy with anyone of how bad I was feeling back then. And then I came across to I guess I did some therapies back in the day, but I came across to like some book. Everything was in Spanish, so I'm sorry I can't really share that with you. But I remember that it was just like something that it will have like small phrases, more like quotes, to say you gotta love yourself in order to be happier. You're gonna love yourself. You have to love yourself in order to have self-confidence. You have to love yourself in order to be happy in a relationship or for someone to love you. And the thing with self-love is about a relationship between you and yourself. If you don't like yourself, this is not gonna go right at any point. This is gonna be a constant battle between you not accepting who you are, not accepting your mistakes, no also understanding and have compassion for yourself. I think this is one of the things that sometimes we need to, obviously not go into this whole victimized role of saying poor me because of this, poor me. No, compassion in the sense of reminding yourself that you're also a human, that it is okay to have bad things, it is okay to have good things. And then little by little you start understanding that the relationship between you and yourself is the most important relationship in the world, more than the one with your family, with your parents, with your partner. So do yourself a favor and start loving yourself more, because I promise you self-confidence will change, people will start liking you even more, and then everything start looking brighter. Compassion and empathy. This is one of the things that helped me more to heal my mind. So I'm gonna tell you a little bit of a story of something that happened to me when I lived in London. I was going through the whole thing of renewing my visa, and in order to do that you need a lot of documents, you need a lot of stuff. I went to the bank and I asked the woman in the cashier, can you please sign and put a stamp on these documents, because I need to take them to the embassy. Because it was already like very close to the time they closed. She just stand there and she just looked at me, and then she told me, we're gonna close very soon. And I said, yes, but I'm here, and the only thing that you need to do is to put a stamp, to sign it, so then I can prove that this is like a legal document, right? And then she just looked at me and told me, no, we're closing. And then she closed the thing in front of my eyes. And my reaction was I remember I was so angry, right? I was so like disturbed by this that I kind of looked at her and I told her, okay, I hope this is not gonna, it's not gonna scare many of you, but I told her, hey, if you do something like this in my country to someone, you will be dead, And one of the things I remember is obviously she never signed it to me, At the end of the day, she just closed this thing. It was 10 minutes before they closed, and actually the only thing that she needed to do was to put a stamp and a signature. And then I left this place and I never felt so angry in my life. I was so frustrated. I was just about to even throw these papers in a bin, and I was just like, what the hell just happened? But I remember a lot of episodes like this in bars, by bartenders, also a driver, like a bus driver, And then I remember like years later, my ex-boyfriend started telling me a lot more about how can you handle a lot of these situations, right? And then I learned that if I had the time and the moment to actually think maybe about, not necessarily this person was fully evil. I mean, she was maybe evil to do this to me and to do it in this way. But one of the things that I needed to think about in order to give peace to myself, not to her, it was maybe, you hate your job. Maybe you're sitting here, I don't know, maybe your life is really shitty. Maybe, you are also like me, like just working for a minimum wage and you're just so tired and you just want to go home. You don't want to do anything. Or maybe you are just like that because a lot of bad things happens to you in the past and then you just feel like being evil with someone else, So one of the things that I learned here is that I didn't, getting triggered for stuff like that. It will only affect me. It wouldn't affect her. So this is the time when I finally start learning and start getting this kind of inner, inner zen thing that people say, that it is about how you react around situations in your life. It's okay to lose the plot sometimes and completely explode, of course. But most of the times, if we are constantly facing situations like this, we need to learn and we need to have a lot of compassion and a lot of empathy towards other people's life in order for you to kind of make peace with yourself around it. So I hope that kind of makes sense, you know. Another thing that I remember hearing was like that a lot of the times there is no evil people in the world. It's just people underdeveloped, and I think that is also true, because what is the point of going around in the world being bitter and being angry? Finally, understanding what exactly is what makes you truly happy. So this is something that I have to write, especially this year that I've been going through another like rough time in my life. I had to write in a piece of paper, what are the things that makes me happy? Dancing. So I start going dancing every single weekend. Nature. So I put in my agenda just to go to nature twice a week. And then I also love animals, so I decided to adopt a dog, and it clearly changed my mind and my life and absolutely everything. What else? Being close to people that helps you or that builds you up, you know. So I started contacting a lot of my super zen kind of yogi friends that they always have a little bit of this vibe or like calming vibe and things like that. So I think it is important to just write the simple things that makes you happy and really try to work for them. The whole thing of me going more often to the club to dance, it has also been a little bit of this relief, this kind of like, you know, like getting rid of these bad negative emotions that happen, you know, in my life in general. So remember or remind yourself to do the things that you really love. Okay, that's everything for this video, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this one, a little bit of a different one. I will come back with a lot of more content in this channel. So just keep an eye on it, and I see you in my next video. Bye bye.